it's Allison Ziggy, and I am joining you live this week for Princess Interrupted, the podcast. This is my little BFF Wink, who I say goodbye to tomorrow. I am moving on to my next phase of my sits in Philly, and I can't think of a better time to record the quantum leaping episode than right now. Last week we talked about Quantum Leap Week, which was an experiment I did back in 2023 that changed the entire trajectory of my entire life, career, and relationships, and I'm helping you do the same. So if you're interested in Quantum Leap Week, it's a free challenge that I'm hosting. I'm going to include links to sign up in the show notes, but we're going to have live calls, daily exercises. We're going to be rewiring the subconscious. We're going to be having dance parties every day, getting into our bodies. If you're ready to just make this the best week of your entire summer, where it feels like the best day ever on repeat, which is what my life has felt like lately, you are going to want to join this. We are going to have so much fun. It's free to sign up. If you do sign up for VIP, you also unlock a breathwork session, and you get a copy of the Fall Winter Planner, which is absolutely beautiful, and you can also pre-order that just in the show notes. So I'm including all the links, all the details to that below. Make sure to sign up. If you enjoy this work, please like, share, subscribe, follow, do all the things. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about it. So I want to talk about quantum leaping. And what I want to specifically talk about is some misconceptions with quantum leaping. And I want to talk about quantum leaping in the now. The one question that you need to ask yourself if you are ready to quantum leap in your life. The first thing that we really want to dive into, what is a quantum leap? A quantum leap is abrupt changes, things that are happening fast. This is going from like barely scraping by to thriving and more clients than you know what to do with. This is being single to in the relationship of your dreams in what seems like a nanosecond. This is like things that look like they are happening overnight when in reality you have been working towards them for so long and it feels like you still aren't getting the results that you want. But you're ready for results, you're ready to see them, you're ready for the shift. So what is the difference? How do we make the quantum leap happen? How do we collapse the time? Well, the first way that we collapse the time is by realizing that time is not what you've been conditioned to believe time is. Time is not this linear process where if you just continue to go through the motions, you continue to swipe on your hinge matches, you continue to just show up day after day and things change. Sure, you might see changes. You might get into a relationship that way, you might get some clients, like things might start happening, but that's not a quantum leap. That is the long route. And I am not interested in taking you through the long route because I have taken the long route in my life. And let me tell you, I want to help you shortcut that so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. I've been on this path for the past 6 years. I guess it's 7 years if you count from like when my journey really started. And I've just been studying this work. And the piece that was missing for me all along was the way that I was viewing myself. It always comes back to the way that you're viewing yourself. So a quantum leap is not about getting results faster. It's about the embodiment of what you think your desires are going to give you in the present moment and acting from a place of abundance and not a place of scarcity. I'm going to give you some examples. So I'm going to give you an example that is just so vulnerable and open. When I left my New York City apartment, I didn't know what came next. I was traveling and I felt kind of lost. Like it felt like things weren't progressing as fast as I wanted them to. And I needed to take a beat. I needed to spend time with family. I needed life to be boring. And so I got a retail job. And I worked at this retail job and it was paying me. It took some pressure off the business. But what I found is that as I was working this retail job, I started to buy clothes. I started to be interested in the clothes. It was like it wasn't actually progressing me forward. What was happening is I found a band-aid solution for a problem in my life. I never would have gotten on this path if I would have just taken this as a solution. And I actually think, even though retail pays a lot less than corporate America, I think that this taught me the lesson of why I had been caught in a loop of taking corporate jobs that I didn't want year after year after year. I would take a job, I would try to figure out how soon can I leave this job. That would be the first thing that I would want to know. As soon as I got a new job, like how long do I have to work here? I wanted to do my business, but I didn't believe that I had the power to support myself. I didn't believe in myself in the pursuit of what I was creating, even though the tagline of my business was anything is possible, which I truly do believe down to my core, but I struggled to see myself as capable of creating the results that I wanted in my life. For a time, it felt easier and more believable to me to go into corporate retail than it did to pursue what I truly wanted to do. Now, the one thing that I did differently when I took this job was that I promised myself I was not going to go in with the same attitude that I had for my corporate jobs. I was not going to go into this job and wonder when I was going to quit. I was going to approach this job, just give it what I have. And at first, I was like, I'm going to make content. Every time I'm on break, I would get my little 15-minute, 30-minute break. I would go in my car and I would just record dating videos. And they did okay. They got engagement. I was not repeating the pattern. I was healing the pattern. And so I was like, okay. Also, I was going to keep it for just me. I didn't want to make it a thing. I just needed to do what I needed to do to support myself, pay my bills, take pressure off the business, figure out where I wanted things to go. I completely skipped the winter planner and I just focused on this, okay? I was still doing my business and like I said, making videos, trying to figure out what I needed. But the biggest thing that I found through this process was that had I continued to just build, the traditional method that we learn is build, save, and then do the things that you want. I never would have gotten out of the loop that way. And while retail was a micro example of corporate, it was the same energy. Things would have never shifted because my energy wasn't going to shift by continuing to take those actions. I really wish that I could touch the screen and implant this lesson into you. Time does not change energy. Time just means that time passes. As you keep doing the same things, you might see slightly different results. It might look like things are progressing, but at the end of the day, they're not. It really is the inner work and aligning to your self-worth and upgrading your self-image where you are going to see the biggest results in your life. What ultimately happened was there's so much that I could go into, but the details of the job specifically weren't important. But basically, I started pet sitting and I started coming to Philly, and I would come to Philly in exchange for pet care. I would have a place to stay. And my sits started to get longer and longer and longer. And eventually I'm like, oh my gosh, I basically live in Philly. And I've been here all summer. I still have plans to be here for a few more weeks, and things are unfolding in a way that I could have never imagined. That has been so amazing, and I blinked and I have a life. Okay, but this was never my conscious intention. It wasn't to get out of where I was living. It wasn't to quit the job. It was just what ended up happening was I got sits that were a long enough amount of time where I had to quit the job. So the day that I was quitting the job was fixed. Even everything down to the day that I quit my retail job, it was it just came out. I didn't go to work expecting to quit that day, and then I quit. And I was like, oh my gosh, wow. I guess I just did that. And I wasn't ready. I didn't feel ready to go travel and do these things and fully support myself through my business yet. I felt like it was really edgy, and I felt like it was going to require a different version of myself to step out and actually make these things happen. But do you want to know what happened? Money started coming in unexpected ways. This planner launch has already been the biggest planner launch that I've had in the past year, 2 years. Genuinely, it's been a bigger launch, and I haven't even really started promoting the planners. This challenge already has more people signed up for it than one that I started earlier this year, and I'm just really excited because it wasn't just the burn the boats and it has to work, because I've done that and I've gotten myself into situations that haven't felt good where there's been too much pressure. It's more so this process of loving yourself unconditionally, regardless if it works or not, and redefining what you choose to be successful. And for me, success was no longer setting a goal and hitting it. Success became about pursuing the things that I knew that were important to me and finding a way to make it work. And aligning myself with Philadelphia was so much more aligned with who I knew I was capable of being, and being here has been the biggest breakthrough for my business. I truly believe it's an even bigger breakthrough than if I had stayed in New York. I feel so aligned here. I've met so many incredible people. I've extended the New York City Calendar Club and have started the Philly Calendar Club. And it's just been this process that has been so magical, where I feel like every day has been the best day of my life. I feel like anytime I start to feel a little low, I either turn it into art and I write about it, or I have people in my world who are so incredible that just help me feel fully seen and help me turn things around. I don't want to pretend that everything's perfect or that I'm teaching you quantum leaping because I figured it out, I hacked the system, you can do all these things. But what I do know is this: I have taught myself how to feel okay regardless of what is going on externally. And feeling okay doesn't mean I'm always in a state of feeling fake good. It means that even when I feel bad, I let myself feel it. And again, then I can turn it into art. There is purpose behind every emotion. There's purpose behind every experience. I'm able to separate the circumstances from the ways that I see myself. I'm able to look at this as a period of time in life versus a sentence of this is who Allison is. I'm able to go through challenges without over-identifying with them, and I'm able to see the big picture of where I'm headed, and I'm able to blinders on, focus, and go there without worrying about how it's gonna work, what's gonna happen, or doubting myself. Do you realize how much energy you spend doubting yourself? You literally have one foot on the gas, one foot on the brakes, and your car's like stalling every 5 feet down the road. That was how I lived my life for so long. I was so anxious. I was so quick to like outsource. Is this gonna work? Is this gonna happen? Oh my God. And when I was dating, I like had to ask my psychic friends. I was like, what's going on with this guy? Like, where is he? Oh my God, the cards, like, stop. Because I got to a place where it was like, regardless of if I never hear back from him again, I am completely fine. And I took what I needed to take out of that situation to become a match for immaculate, like perfect soulmate love that just supersedes like anything I've ever even dreamed about. Or like in the business, I'm able to take these periods of time where it feels like things aren't working and they're low. I'm able to use it as information. Like, what do people actually need help with? And beyond that, I've completely retrained my brain so that I can look at where things are working and actually just laser focus on them. And I'm able to then grow and cultivate them. I am telling you, when you start to learn to live this way, life becomes magical. It becomes charmed. Everything just works out for you. I wore a random outfit yesterday and I got 3 compliments in a stretch of like 200 feet. And people are like, you look so beautiful. And I was like, thank you. I just received it. And even today, I went to Target and someone was like, your outfit looks amazing. I was like, thank you. I was wearing like a little top and a skirt and it was cute, but it was like, it felt so, I was just so present. I'm so present in life. I'm present for whatever comes up. And this is a process that you tap into through quantum leaping. Quantum leaping is realizing that all of your possibilities exist within the present moment. The mistake that I used to make with this is I would think that this would mean I could just magical think my way out of the things that weren't working, and I would use manifestation as a crutch for wherever things were difficult. For example, when I wanted to stay in my New York apartment, I just pretended and would try to affirm, like, I'm going to have these $15,000 months. It's going to happen. It's going to happen on repeat. That was my goal forever. Wanted a $15,000 month. Your girl was not hitting $15,000 months. When it came time for my lease and it came due and they raised it over $5,000, I weighed my options. I pretended that I was considering it. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? I don't want to leave New York, because I wasn't willing to admit to myself, this isn't working. I was so fixated and I did it all on my own. I hid all this from my friends. I wasn't saying it to anybody. Instead of being honest, I just love that version of myself so much for thinking that that's who she had to be in order to get the results that she wanted. I even think back to the masterminds that I was in. I was like paying to be in these coaching programs. I didn't even feel comfortable enough to ask the actual questions that I needed to ask. Like, I felt like I needed to posture and pretend that everything was working and that everything was okay so that I could be in this room and be respected. I look back and I kind of get the ick at some of the content I was creating because it so wasn't like truly me. This entire year of just deconstructing what wasn't working and getting so honest about what's not working, about getting so honest about what needed to change, about getting so honest about I can't do this anymore. That was when the love started to flow in. That was when money started to come in unexpected ways. That was when it became less about I have to do this so I can feel good about myself and I can feel accomplished and I can spread this message of like it's safe to follow your dreams. That's when life started to actually get good. And I received true love and connection. And I felt like people could get to know the real me, the me who's not perfect and was struggling with things, who could be a match for real relationships. Oh my gosh, when I would go through like a failed talking stage, like I would get so embarrassed because it felt like I did something wrong. And do you know what? Now I will recount every last detail to my friends and I just feel them being there for me. Because they are there for me, because I let them be there for me. And do you want to know what? Every time I open up to somebody about something that I'm struggling with, I'm met with their own vulnerability and honesty. And that is love. That is the way I want to live. I don't want to live in this reality where you have to be perfect to be worthy, or if you don't set the goal, you're a loser, or you have to appease the leader of some mastermind. Like, no. I want to help people live their most aligned, fulfilled, happiest lives. I want to help you be so sparkly, so in your energy, so weird, so fully self-expressed that the external doesn't dictate how you see yourself. It doesn't dictate how viable you believe your idea to be. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you feel about yourself and how willing you are to take the desires of your heart seriously. Because these are the desires of your heart because they are truly meant to be lived and experienced through you. And if you're drawn to this work, I would love to support you through Quantum Leap Week, because I truly believe that any experience of reality is available to you at any given moment. The quantum field is infinite. There are infinite possibilities. I could have worn 400 different outfits today. I could have recorded this at any other time throughout the day, but the unique set of circumstances led to this message coming through at this moment, because this is what I became a vibrational match for. That doesn't happen through forced action. That doesn't happen through need to do's, to-do lists, should do's. But through this work, you will get so clear on where you need to spend your time. You will become so intuitively tapped into your routine. You will become so connected to yourself that you will learn what works best for you, what gets the best results, what feels the most accurate for you. It's like this entirely different way of approaching reality that is going to open up everything for you, where you feel like you get to be the real you everywhere that you go. That is what I can absolutely promise you. I am living, breathing proof of this. I swear, every time I walk out that door, it is a charmed experience. I'm like, the city of Philadelphia and I are in a complete love affair. I literally just like look myself in the mirror and I'm like, you're the prettiest girl in Philadelphia. And I just walk around and strut around and act like it. And reality meets me with that energy. And that is possible for you too. It's possible for you. All you have to do is upgrade what you believe to be true about yourself on a subconscious level, get the body on board, get the somatics on board, and start to learn this process of this intuitive dance with life. This is what we're going to be diving into in Quantum Leap Week. I would absolutely love to have you join me if you upgrade to VIP. VIP is just the best, and I also decided that I want to be the kind of person who is a VIP kind of person. So if you want to be a VIP kind of person, options for signing up for that are in the links below. But let me know if this helps deepen the Quantum Leap Week experience for you. I'm not sure if I really finished my story of like, I guess I just said that like I started leaving, I left that job, and then like I started getting the sits and Philly, and it was like so natural when I left. And then, yeah, I guess I like already went into that. But what I would say is like, had I waited to be ready to move to Philly, I still wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. I'm not ready to move to Philadelphia. I'm here because I created a path, and it was messy and it was unexpected, and I don't hide behind it. I don't pretend to have it all figured out on Hinge. I'm nomadic. I am. I stay with my family because I no longer view that as something bad. I view what I am doing now as more of a flex than living in the center of the West Village doing a job I didn't want. I view this as a bigger flex than when I was even there trying to hold on to my life so tightly. Because to be truly successful, you have to be willing to put yourself in uncomfortable situations for the sake of growth, because you will figure it out. And there will be a version of you who looks back, and any uncomfortable thing that happens, you'll know, I'll get to tell this on a stage. I'll get to tell this in a book. This is part of my story. This is going to help so many people. So just know, wherever you're at, anything in your reality can change in an absolute instant. So imagine what can happen in a week. I love you so much. Please sign up, share. Hope you loved this episode. Send me a DM if there's any takeaways that you have, anything you want me to touch on, any questions. But I love you so much, and I hope you have the best day ever.